Hey guys, my name is Chris. I am a cab driver, a young guy who is hardworking and just trying to survive. I lost my dad many years ago, but I still have my mom, whom I fondly call my wife, while she calls me her husband. Although she is sick, it is well. Then there are my two other siblings. One is currently in school, while the other one is awaiting service. My life wasn't always like this, but I guess life just happened to us. You want to know how it happened? Well, just sit back and enjoy as I take you through my life story. One day, I had just returned from work, greeted my mom, and gave my sister what I got her. Shortly after, my phone rang, and I picked it up. It was a passenger I had carried who had issues with his wife. I gave him a little advice. He listened, and got a positive result. Now he was calling to show gratitude. You might be asking if I am a marriage counselor or if I am married. No. I am neither. I guess I have that special gift to know how to talk and connect with people so easily. After hearing my conversation, my mom started her usual disturbance, saying it's high time I got myself a wife. I don't have the strength for that now. Let me just go in and sleep already. The next day, I was driving my cab, enjoying and vibing to music when my phone rang. It was a client. Oh God, can't someone just rest a little? I picked up, and it was a lady. I told her I would follow the map and locate her, then went back to playing my music happily. I finally arrived where she was standing close to a white car, and she got in as we drove off. I started the ride. Funny guys, the atmosphere was just quiet. I like to keep people company, but I was just silent and focused on my driving. Then she asked, "Are you always this quiet?"
You seem quiet. Or is there something wrong?
Finally, she broke the silence. I liked that. That's how we started talking and laughing. Then I heard a sound and noticed her stomach had grumbled. Wow. I know she felt embarrassed and uncomfortable, but she didn't know it's a normal thing for us in the street.
That's so embarrassing.
Guess what, guys? My stomach also grumbled. I know, guys, I intentionally made it happen so she would feel we are even, and she smiled. I'm happy. She suggested we get food to eat, and I told her I knew a good place. She accepted. We got to a local food kiosk along the road, and I parked the car. From her appearance, I suspected she might not be used to places like this and might come from a very wealthy home, but who cares? We were hungry, and we had to eat. I got her the food, and she loved it. I drove to where we could eat comfortably. Guys, I could literally see the fear in her eyes about what she was about to consume. To make her feel good, I told her I would bet my 5-star rating on it, and she gave it a try. You like it, right? I told you. She loved it and wanted to give me a 7-star rating. Guys, we got so free and we began talking and laughing together. She told me her car broke down after her dad forced her to drive, which she doesn't like doing, and now she was stuck. Her mechanic couldn't be reached before she contacted me. From the name on the call, I saw Miss Anola as her name. I called her that, and she insisted I just call her Anola.
Miss Anola.
Just Anola.
Guys, Anola got so used to me in just these few hours we've been together, and now she asked me to take her sightseeing. She insisted she would pay for all my time. Anola, I must confess, I've really been enjoying our time together, and that sightseeing you want me to take you on is indeed a great privilege for me because I would still be seeing your beautiful face. Regarding her car, I offered to call my mechanic to come check the car and fix it. I gave him the address of where the car was parked. Guys, I could see the fear in her eyes when she handed over the car key, but I had to make her trust me. Finally, at night, I dropped her off at her house and quickly went to open the door for her. She's truly a queen, and I must treat her as one. Seeing this posh lady trying to speak our street slang, my God, this girl is really cracking me up.
No be for anybody.
She's a fast learner, though. I'll give her that. Anola just asked why I'm still single when I'm this fun. Let me prank her a little. I told her I am not trying to have 2 wives.
I'm not trying to have 2 wives.
Guys, look at her face. I got her. She's so disappointed. I quickly explained that I meant my wife was my mom, who is sick and needs my care. Smiles. Now she's brightened up. Women. But I think I'm really liking this particular woman, actually. We continued chatting for a while when my mother called, and I told her I would be with her soon. After the call, I bid Anola good night and got into my car to go home. But guys, I couldn't. It felt like I was doing the wrong thing, so I went back and asked for her contact, which she was so excited to give me. Later that same night, I called her and we began chatting, getting to know each other better. The most amusing story she told me was about her date with a poser. He was so rude and proud, pretending to be someone he was not.
We had a meeting with a big group of companies, and I was one of the representatives, so I couldn't dodge it.
Oh, really?
She played along until she couldn't take it anymore. Her phone rang and she picked it up. That's when this dude realized that the person he had been boasting about having a business meeting with, which made him late for the date, was her.
Hello. Yes, this is Anola Dejibe speaking.
He couldn't believe his eyes. My guy had fumbled. Who does that? Guys, I heard this story and couldn't stop laughing. Guess what? We stayed on the call until the next morning and still weren't tired. She checked her phone and saw it was past 4 a.m. and needed to sleep, asking that I end the call. I refused because I had called. She should end the call. Neither of us wanted to end the call, so we continued talking. Later in the day, I was outside Eniola's compound with my ride to take her to work. Look at her face. You can tell she didn't sleep well. Being a gentleman, I went to the door, helped her sit comfortably, and then drove off. We got to her office, and she was already asleep, so I woke her up. She asked how much for the ride. Oh my God, I didn't start the trip. I totally forgot. It's a lie, guys. I knew what I did. Before I noticed, she put her hand in her purse and gave me some money, which was way higher than the trip fare, insisting I start the trip so she didn't have to approximate. Wow, she's indeed a kind woman. I thanked her as she alighted. I was so happy, guys, that I quickly called Lizzie, my younger sister, with excitement to tell our mom that I had the money for her drugs. Days later, guys, I was at home dressing up to go out. I was so happy, singing and smiling. My mother was just staring in amazement when Lizzie entered and asked, "Who is the lucky girl?" What is she saying? What lucky girl again, Lizzie? This younger sister of mine can be snoopy sometimes. She just wants to get information from me, but that won't happen. Just then, my phone rang. I picked it up, and it was Anola. Anola just said she's at my door. How? I quickly stood up and opened the door. Surprisingly, she was standing there smiling. She entered and began mingling with my family, especially Lizzie, until she opened her big mouth and said, "It's nice to finally meet my brother's girlfriend," putting me on the hot seat. I immediately told her to go get something for our guest so she would leave our site. Quickly, I had to drag Anola out of the house. These people won't put me in trouble. Well, guys, we all know how rich people operate, especially when they have an only daughter who is also a business tycoon. They would start bringing the issue of marriage to her attention. And I believe that's exactly what Anola would be going through with her father.
Sweetheart, don't you want to get married?
But I know I love Anola. Even if I don't have all the money in the world, I still love her. I just hope her dad won't see me as a threat to other rich men who are interested in her. However, guys, Anola and I are already a thing now. I drive her anywhere she wants to go. One day I was waiting outside her car for her to finish a meeting when my ex Amanda, who I was once madly in love with, approached me. Guys, that girl is a gold digger. She saw me with a big car thinking it was mine, and now she's trying to throw herself back at me. I just told her I was waiting for my babe. Just then, Anola came, and I reached to hug her. Funny how Amanda was so disappointed and frustrated that I have a big car and a new girlfriend. Anola extended her greeting to her, but Amanda hissed and walked away, leaving Anola shocked. Later on our way, Anola asked who Amanda was. Amanda really did a number on me. I was so in love with her. When things were good for me, I paid her school fees, paid her rent, and made sure she didn't lack anything. But when things went bad for me and I had to drop out of school, she forgot all I did for her. My love for her meant nothing, as she threw it into the trash and walked out of my life. But it is what it is. I have moved on. Anola, concerned, then asked if I had any plans to go back to school.
So I was thinking, do you ever consider going back to school?
Anola, my love, I am a very principled man. I am currently enrolling my sister in university, and when she's done, then I can go back, but with my own money. She was so surprised at the kind of man I am, and I know that's why she loves me. One special day, I was having a special moment with my love, Eniola, in front of her house. We were singing and dancing so closely when her dad drove in. Guys, from this man's look, he wasn't smiling at all, like he would skin me alive if he ever got a hold of me. I had to quickly bid Eniola goodbye and leave before I faced her father's wrath. I'm sure her father wouldn't take it lightly with her wanting to be with an ordinary taxi driver, as he claims. But guys, I know Eniola loves me, and I love her more. I know she will defend our love for each other. I trust her on that. She's a strong-headed woman. We met that night, and she told me all that transpired between her and her father. He had authorized her to step down from being the COO, Chief Operations Officer of the company. Oh my God. I don't want to come between the love Eniola and her father share. What will I do now? Eniola assured me not to worry. She knows her father better. He will eventually come around. That's how I felt a bit relieved and hugged her before she left. Weeks later, guys, unfortunately for me, the worst had happened. Yes, that's me lying on the couch unconscious with a bandage around my head, and Lizzie helping to press my body with a wet towel when Eniola entered, worried sick about me. Lizzie told her how I was beaten and robbed. They took everything I had worked for, including my car. Eventually, when help came, I was able to give out Lizzie's number before I became unconscious.
He got robbed of everything, including his car.
Guys, I was already conscious, but I stayed put just to see what Eniola would do next. I heard her crying, and that's when I opened my eyes. Not too fast, I played another prank on them. This time, I acted like I'd lost my memory, asking where I was, who they both were, and what they did to me.
What did you do to me? I got you out.
See the look on their faces, guys. They were scared as heck. I got them. Ha! See the way Eniola rushed to me, beating me for pranking her. At least she's relieved now. I realized my mother wasn't with them, and I asked where she was. Lizzie told me she was wailing uncontrollably at the hospital because of what happened to me, so they had to put her on sedation. I have to go see her now. Yes, I'm a happy man in all circumstances, but this really got to me. My only source of income that I use to pay all my bills is gone. Eniola asked which I would prefer between a car and a more sustainable job.
Between a new car and a more sustainable job, which would you prefer?
Eniola, my darling, you've done more than enough for me already. I prefer none of what you have suggested. My parents raised me right, to not depend on anyone but to work hard and make wealth for myself. Besides, I've been through many bad times. This is not an issue. Everything will fall into place in no time. Days later, Eniola told me she finally spoke with her dad. Although they had a little argument about me, they finally came to an agreement, with her dad requesting to see me. I came to see Eniola's dad the next day. She saw me and quickly came to greet me when her father came downstairs, and we quickly adjusted. I greeted him while Eniola excused herself. We sat down, and the first question he asked was, "So you are the person that is pitting my daughter against me?" I was so shocked. I quickly replied, "No, sir, I dare not. Plus, I just prefer to avoid trouble, that's all." He went on to ask me to tell him about myself, so I started. "Well, sir, I am the only son of my parents. My father passed on 7 years ago. I have 2 sisters. One is currently in university while the other is awaiting service. My mother is sick, but we are managing." He then asked about my job. I became uncomfortable, knowing this would ruin my chances of him accepting me, but I had to tell him. I used to be an Uber driver until my car got stolen. Right now I wash cars for a living. Guys, I could see the disappointment in his eyes. I knew this particular detail had ruined everything. I felt ashamed even saying it, but a man has to hustle and take care of his family. Just then, while I was still waiting for his next question, I heard, "How would it feel having 10 million naira in your account just so you can leave my daughter alone?"
10 million. So you could leave my daughter alone and we can have peace.
This is really tempting, guys, but my love for Eniola cannot be bought with 10 million. I know Eniola is listening, and she will be so proud of me.
So with all due respect, you cannot buy the love I have for your daughter.
I thought that was all when I heard him say, "What if I made it 20 million naira?" My God, what kind of temptation is this again? But I really need this money, God. Eniola, you are rich, and I need this money. Maybe God brought you into my life for a purpose like this. Should I just accept this money and leave his daughter alone for good? You lie. Nothing, I repeat, nothing can buy the love I have for your daughter, sir, so I have to refuse your offer. Let me leave now before this man tempts me again with an amount I can't resist. I quickly excused myself and left while Eniola called after me. I'm sure she will be totally disappointed in her father. I told Eniola that she is priceless and that no amount of money in this world can buy the love I have for her. She was so happy that she rushed to hug me. Dear Lord, I thank you for bringing such a great woman into my life. I needed to go to work, so I bid her goodbye and left. Later that day, I spoke to my mother about my visit with Eniola's father. She encouraged me with this very profound statement. Anything that will last always has a very difficult beginning.
Anything that will last always has a difficult beginning.
Although Eniola and I aren't just starting our relationship, the truth is we can't have a happy ending without her father's blessing. She began to tell me her own story with my dad's mother, how my grandmother came to her workplace asking her to stay away from my dad. Long story short, it was rocky for them, but my dad stood up for her and defended her against his mother. Graciously, she finally won my grandmother over. Guys, I must be honest, I am grateful to God for the kind of mother he's blessed me with. This woman knows how to use her words to pierce through one's soul. She's helped me through the bad times of my life with just her words, and it has made me strong and capable of making the right decisions in life. One very special day, I was busy with my car wash business when a lady brought some men to me and began accusing me of a serious crime. I didn't understand. Before I could say anything, the men had already taken me away. I was so helpless. My sister Lizzie, as usual, was the first to know anything about me. But telling my mom what happened, given her health condition, was not okay at all. She told our mother I was in police custody for a crime I knew nothing about.
He's arrested brother for rape.
And my mom collapsed. Unfortunately, we lost her. She died instantly from the shock. God, why? What did I do to deserve this predicament that has befallen me? Who did I offend? And now my mom's life is taken as a result of this accusation. Shortly after, Eniola came to mourn with us for our loss. Weeks later, I had successfully moved on with my life when I received a call from Eniola, crying and panicking that her father just had a cardiac arrest. Oh my God. I had to calm her down and tell her what she needed to do before I could get there. Thanks to God, he survived the attack. The doctor informed him that the first aid treatment I administered to him before taking him to the hospital was crucial, otherwise he wouldn't have survived. He was surprised that someone he disliked had just saved him from death. It's wise not to repay evil with evil, so we can have oneness, love, and unity in our society. The Bible also admonishes us to love our enemies, and that's exactly what I did. He sent for me, and I came. Feeling remorseful, he began apologizing for all the wrongs he had done to me. Long ago, sir, I had forgiven you. I had nothing against you. Yes, guys, I didn't tell you what my course was in school before I dropped out. I was a medical student and was doing fine until my dad's business partner betrayed him after taking a huge loan from the bank to start his company. The bank came and collected all our properties, including our house. My mom was forced to retire, and I had no option but to drop out of school. I used the last money we had to buy the car I used for Uber, but unfortunately, now the car is no more. Just then, I heard him say he was sorry for sending the boys who robbed me of my car and money and beat me up that day. Not only that, he was also behind the woman who accused me of a crime, believing all this would persuade his daughter to stop loving me. Unfortunately, it took the life of my mother. Jesus Christ, how can this man be so cruel and wicked? He went to such lengths just for his daughter to stop loving me, and he succeeded in taking the life of my mother. Guys, I have never felt this hurt in my life, and now this man is telling me he can replace my stolen car, give me the life I need, and sponsor my education. But I only asked him this simple question: can all of this bring back my mother?
But that won't bring my mother back, will it?
He became mute, as I expected, and I quietly walked out of his house. My God, this is just so unbelievable and unbearable for me. I had to cut all communication with Eniola and her father. I refused to take her calls or see her. Lizzie is even more upset with her than I am. She has asked her to leave and never step foot in our house again. I am just confused. I still love you, Eniola, but I guess I just have to let you go at this point. One day, I was busy washing a customer's car when Eniola's father came to my car wash. What is this man doing here? Despite everything, I remained respectful, stopped what I was doing, and went to see him. He said he needed to see me, but I told him I was busy and if he wanted his car washed, he should park it and wait. He said he wasn't there for himself, but for Eniola. I thought he was trying to deceive me again until I heard that Eniola wanted to commit suicide. Suicide because of me? No way, I had to go and see her, although he still pleaded with me to come. Unfortunately, before we got to the house, Eniola had already written a note and taken poison. She was in pain and almost dying when we arrived. Quickly, I helped her throw up the substance before rushing her to the hospital. I'm glad she survived. Weeks later, I brought Eniola home so she could make peace with Lizzie. Lizzie was still very upset with her, but I had to step in and plead with Lizzie to forgive Eniola, and she did. We all hugged each other and were happy again. Finally, guys, Eniola and I are happily together now. No fear of any threats, we love each other and are happy being together. Indeed, the words of my mother were true. Anything that will last always has a very difficult and rough beginning. You can't find raw gold on the surface of the earth. You have to dig deep and deeper. My journey to finding love in Eniola was indeed a love in transit, but we were able to arrive at our destination. What did you learn from this interesting story of mine? Kindly leave that in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Creativity Films for more interesting and latest Nigerian movie extracts and updates. See you next time.